I think that's why I'm so excited, is because I have been blessed to see what it looks like under the GOAT. And now you're going to the baby GOAT, who's been, all the eyes are on her all around the world. And so it's just kind of a cool experience for everyone.
Sophie Cunningham recently shared her thoughts on Caitlin Clark, stating, "She's transformed our game for the better." This remark, made during her latest interview since joining the Fever, holds considerable significance. While some critics and detractors attempt to diminish Clark's influence, Cunningham's honest perspective, coming from a seasoned veteran, speaks volumes.
I am joined by Indiana Fever Sophie Cunningham. And I just said Indiana Fever Sophie Cunningham. You have been with the Phoenix Mercury for 6 years, now heading over to Indiana for the 2025 season. What does that feel like? How has that transition been?
A few years ago, the Indiana Fever found themselves at rock bottom, with just 5 wins, securing their spot at the very bottom of the league. That's the uphill battle they've been working to overcome, and it's a struggle far deeper than most realize. The following season didn't bring much relief, as they posted a disappointing 13-27 record, despite already having the first overall pick in 2023, Aliyah Boston. This wasn't just a rough patch for the Fever. It was a stark indication that something fundamental had to change in Indianapolis.
It is so funny that you even said that, because I'm still, I'm so excited, but I'm still not used to it, just because I've been drafted out here. I've been here for 6 years. And so a couple weeks ago, I threw on the Indiana jersey for the first time, and everyone's saying I'm a Fever. And so I'm like, oh, I gotta get used to the new me, which I love. I'm so excited for. I think it's just such a great opportunity. I'm excited to play with the players that are there, play under the coaching staff that's there. And so I think this is just a new and exciting era for me, and everyone that I kind of
I'd say those first few years in Indy were a real roller coaster. Let me put it this way. Over the course of my 7 years there, I had 4 different head coaches. That alone tells you a lot about the instability. No one truly understands what it's like to experience that bottom rung unless they've been through it. Trust me, I've been there. That's how it all began for me, and it wasn't easy.
I think Indy, those year 1 through 3.5. Well, let me just say this. I went through my 7 years in Indy. I've had 4 head coaches. So that within itself was kind of like, no one really knows what an experience of the black stick at the bottom. Trust me, I've been there. Trust me. So I was, that's really how it started,
Consider the impact that had on the franchise. At rock bottom, the Fever weren't just struggling to win games. They were losing their place in a league where maintaining relevance is already a challenge. Their performance was so alarming that it became clear to anyone watching. A complete roster overhaul wasn't merely a good idea, it was essential for the team's survival.
I left, it was still a rebuild stage. So different coaches got hired. And I think that at that point, Delby was trying to figure out whether I was keep swimming or if I would sink in division. And I'll be honest, I didn't know what would happen in my career. I didn't know how it would turn out, because the points were the points, the accolades were accolades, but it wasn't enough.
That team winning. Team, not individual, team.
And anybody that wanted to compete and be a winner,
it's about team.
Then came the 2024 draft, and everything shifted. The Fever landed the #1 pick, securing Caitlin Clark, arguably the most impactful rookie in WNBA history. In an instant, the team that had once been overlooked became the one everyone was talking about. But with that spotlight came the pressure. The critics and skeptics wasted no time voicing doubts. Could Clark's game translate to the pro level? Was this young team really ready to compete with the league's heavyweights? These weren't just the musings of casual fans on social media. They were valid concerns raised by basketball analysts who saw a talented rookie entering a situation still rife with significant challenges.
Diana said it best. This kid's in for a rude awakening. And they all jumped over her, but they didn't read the whole thing that she said. But nobody's printing. Diana Taurasi was right. This kid's on the wrong team. She's got the wrong skill set to handle the physicality of that league. And she's a rookie. And if you're a WNBA player, if you're any kind of player, you're going to say, I'm going to make a step.
When the 2024 season kicked off, those early struggles only intensified the criticism. At times, the team appeared disjointed, struggling to find any rhythm or chemistry. Clark, in particular, faced physical challenges, with opponents seemingly taking turns testing her mettle, pushing her around in matchups. The Fever's weaknesses were glaringly obvious. They lacked toughness, their shooting was inconsistent, and most notably, they had no enforcer, no veteran presence to step up when things got physical. It became painfully clear that raw talent alone wasn't enough. The Fever didn't just need skilled players. They needed battle-tested veterans who knew what it took to succeed at the highest level. They needed players who wouldn't fold under the immense pressure that comes with having a star like Clark on the roster.
In a position where you can add some pieces.
Yes, we are. We're definitely in a position. And I would think that if you are a smart basketball player and you watch the way she plays, you would want to play.
That's when the front office took action. In what could become one of the most strategic rebuilds in recent WNBA history, Fever management made key moves, acquiring a wealth of veteran talent. Sophie Cunningham, Dana Borner, Sydney Coulson, and Natasha Howard. These weren't just any veterans. These were players who had been in championship scenarios, who understood the pressure and the grind. They weren't just experienced on paper. They had the knowledge and mindset to teach the young core what it truly takes to win at the highest level.
A wonderful fresh start for you. But before we look ahead, I kind of want to look back on your experience in Phoenix. Like you said, you were drafted there. You spent the last 6 seasons with the GOAT, Diana Taurasi, who just announced her retirement. What have you learned from her?
Oh man, I think we could sit here for days if we really went into that. But you know, at the end of the day, I think that Dee is one of the best humans I've ever met. She has one of the best hearts. The way she not only thinks about life, but the game is just on a whole nother level.
Among all the veteran additions, none made a bigger splash than Sophie Cunningham. While the Fever front office carefully crafted their moves behind the scenes, no one saw the bombshell Cunningham would drop during her media tour. Most veterans tread lightly when it comes to praising rookies, wary of raising expectations too soon. But Sophie took an entirely different approach, boldly speaking her mind and leaving basketball analysts stunned. Her candidness about Caitlin Clark and the team's potential was a game changer, turning heads and reshaping how the Fever were viewed.
You went from playing with a true legend of the game to now a rising legend of the game in Caitlin Clark in Indiana. What is it about her? What have you observed about Caitlin Clark now that you're going to be one of her teammates?
In her candid New York Post interview, Cunningham didn't hold back, boldly declaring that she was built for this moment. After years in Phoenix, where things hadn't always been smooth, Sophie saw this trade as fate, a pivotal moment in her career. "I think it's built me for something bigger and better," she revealed, referring to the stage she was about to step onto with the new roster. Her words resonated deeply, almost like a rallying cry for the entire franchise, signaling that this was just the beginning of something special.
Exactly what Cunningham needed after she got, quote, too comfortable across 6 seasons in Phoenix. Now she tells the New York Post that she's equipped to thrive in the spotlight while playing alongside Fever superstar Caitlin Clark. Quote, "I think that since I've been out here in Phoenix, it hasn't always been easy," Cunningham, 28, said while discussing a partnership with Quest Nutrition. "There have been a lot of trials. There's been a lot of lessons learned, a lot of experiences that I thought was just like any WNBA team. But I think it's built me. It's made me tougher. It's tested my persistence and my mental quite a bit."
What makes Cunningham's comments so refreshing is their raw authenticity. Instead of falling back on the usual cliché about taking it one game at a time, she openly acknowledged the unpredictable, roller coaster nature of professional sports. "And that doesn't mean it's always going to be rainbows and butterflies," she admitted, displaying remarkable self-awareness. "Each season has their thing." That honesty speaks volumes about what she'll bring to the locker room. No sugarcoating, just real talk. It's the kind of leadership and perspective that can make all the difference in a team's dynamic.
"I think it's built for me something bigger and better in the stage that we're about to be on with the players that I'm about to be with. I think I am built for this." So she's telling you she's ready. Did you pick up on the "I think it's made me tougher"? Because look, they're not only going to come after Caitlin Clark, they're going to come after Miss Cunningham too. That is a fact. Unfortunately for her, I have a feeling she's not going to back down from anybody.
The move to Indiana came with a twist of irony. During the 2024 WNBA All-Star Game, Sophie had a light-hearted exchange with Clark. "I told her, hey, if you ever want to come to Phoenix, let me know," Cunningham recalled with a laugh. "That one kind of backfired on me." Little did she know, the basketball gods had other plans, sending her straight to Indianapolis instead. It was a playful moment that turned into an unexpected yet exciting chapter in her career.
Fame put the team under a microscope, which opened the floodgates for scrutiny and constant attention. The Fever had to increase security when they drafted the Hawkeyes legend. None of that is intimidating to Cunningham. Here we go. And she's already said she's tough. Now we know she's not intimidated. Who's ready to chase a championship with a new look Fever? Quote, I think that's why they brought in a lot of veterans who have that experience, Cunningham said. And I'm not saying that they have the experience of hundreds of millions of followers watching you, watching your every step, but I do feel like they brought an experience of how to gel in the locker room.